How was it like going to school in your home, where you just always just championed and loved? I mean, even when I knew you, you were just such an Oklahoma fan. So
Yeah.
like, what was it like for you to go to school like where you were just championing, previously all those years? That must have been
It
really
was,
cool.
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Growing up, I was an OU fan, and like I said, once the opportunity presented itself, I couldn't turn it down. I had to go to school at OU.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those bucket lists, check 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 it off the bucket list, dreams of your life that you want to
Yeah.
do. And I'm glad that the Air Force gave me the opportunity for that. I love my Air Force career. I'm never just as proud of my BA on the wall back here as I am of my retirement certificate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you worked really hard for it. You
Yeah.
should be very proud. What was it? When did you know that you wanted to make the Air Force a career? Actually, why Air Force way back in the day? And two, when did you know that this was something that or did you know going in that it was like, I'll just give it 4 years and see where it goes? Or was it, after a certain while, you're like, well, I'm in deep, I'm digging this. Like, walk me through what that was like for you.
So originally Air Force because I wanted to be a pilot when I was younger.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And actually had a recruiter come out. I talked to my school counselor in high school, had a recruiter come out and talk about, an ROTC scholarship, becoming a pilot. And he kind of discouraged me from it. He was like, right
Oh,
now the Air Force has too many pilots. You're going to have to really work really hard in order to earn a scholarship, and blah, blah, blah. Kind of discouraged me from it. So I didn't really pursue that avenue. But aviation, airplanes, loved it my whole life. So that's
yeah.
kind of why I went Air Force when I decided maybe the military is the way to go.
Yeah.
Um, and then it was just going to be, let me get like a 4-year hitch, get my GI Bill, and then I can come back, because the original thing was I was going to go to college.
Right.
And so this was going to be kind of a means to do it. Well, at Hill, I was still kind of that same mindset. I was like, let me finish out this hitch, and go
Okay.
do my thing. Then I got orders to Kadena, and I got over there, and Kadena was night and day. Hill,
Yeah.
your leadership team often dictates the climate that your work climate.
100%.
Hill's leadership was okay, but it wasn't that great.
Hmm.
Plus, being that first base syndrome, you don't really know what the rest of the Air Force is like.
Right.
I still wasn't. I didn't hate the Air Force, but I wasn't of the mood to I'm going to make this a career. But then I
Yeah.
got to get Kadena, had great leadership, great people over there, and I decided, you know what, I'll go ahead and re-enlist here. Re-enlisted at Kadena, and then like I said, went from Kadena to Lake and Heath. Same thing. England was great. Loved it over there. The leadership, the people. And at that point, I was coming up on my next re-enlistment, which was going to put me over 10 years.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that was the point where I said, okay, well, that's going to put me halfway there. If I'm halfway there, I might as well finish it. And so that was the basis of my decision. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything complicated. It was just kind of like, I've put in 10 years. So let me, I imagine I'm gonna go ahead and finish it out. And everything worked out. I wound up leaving Lake and Heath, coming to Minot, meeting Jolene. So yeah.
Yeah. Everything absolutely happens for a reason. Did you ever consider bootstrapping while you were enlisted at any point, or was that never a thing that
I
you considered?
I thought about it. Of course, I would have had to finish my degree while I was still in.
Yeah.
But I never. I kind of really just enjoy being enlisted,
Yeah.
and I never really got that encouragement from anyone to do the bootstrap.
Yeah.
That, like, over the course of my whole career, I had maybe one person sit down and say, you probably make a good officer. but it just wasn't. I really enjoyed being enlisted. I did. It was, to me, I felt closer to the people that I was leading.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, being an officer can be great. There's some great officers out there who lead awesomely.
Right.
But I don't know, just for me, it was just the NCO was more of the blue collar way I grew up. Get down, get your hands dirty kind of leadership that I prefer and that I relish in. So
yeah, I think that's probably why you were a good leader, because you had already been in all of those shoes in previous, lower stripes, right? So it makes it easier for you to understand, one, where they're coming from, and you could understand like moving to a new place. You could understand what it was like doing a job, all of those types of stuff. So that, I think, makes you a good leader, because you've been there, you've done it, one. And two, as a leader, you can say, if I need to get my hands dirty with you, I can, right? Which I think is massive, particularly in the military, because, I was never in the military, but I was always very close to it. So, I'd either hear stories of like a leader was either great and was willing to help out, or a leader who was just about giving directive and, moving on their way and not being part of the team, which is a massive difference in how your trajectory, moves forward.